I'm ready to rock and roll here, Ron.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
You know, it has a very
Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today needs no introduction. Whenever you see his big smile, you immediately know who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the man who rode the Love Boat for 10 years straight, and now he's writing and producing plays. Please welcome Ted Lange.
Ta-da!
Greetings, Ted, and once again, welcome to The Actor's Choice.
Hi, Ron. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Feeling is mutual. Good to see you and hear you again. Please tell our audience, if you would, where you were born.
I was born in Oakland, California. I grew up during the turbulent times of the Black Panthers and the free speech movement in Berkeley and the, Vietnam War, where we were protesting against the Vietnam War. That was my era.
Okay. Now, you did a lot of various jobs, but what made you want to get into acting?
I'll tell you the reason I really got into acting, and this is the honest to God's truth. I got an A. We did a play, and we had, back then in junior high school, we had a thing called the English elective. And I was a C student in everything. I was C in arithmetic, math, foreign language, Spanish, French. I was just a C student. And the first time I got an A was when I did a play called A Christmas Carol, and I played Scrooge. And so after that, I got an A, and then I went to high school and I enrolled in drama, and that was the one class I always did really good in. So it didn't take a truck to knock me over and tell you this is the way you should go. So I just stuck with drama. I did want to play football. And when I went to college, I walked into the men's locker room to sign up for football. Now I'm about 5'7" and 150 pounds at the time. 5'7". And I walked into the football locker room, and this is what I did, Ron.
Oh, Lord.
I think I better be an actor.
Right, indeed. All those big guys. 1972 was the year you got your first IMDb film actor credit for an action crime drama called Trick Baby.
Trick Baby.
And your role was?
Huh?
What was your role, sir?
Oh, I played a pimp.
Yeah, Melvin the Pimp.
Pimps actually became my specialty because I did it in another movie later on with Pam Grier called Friday Foster.
Yes.
And I played a pimp in that. And then I was so good at it that if you watch the TV series, That's My Mama, the way I moved and the kind of body English I had, that came from the pimp in the movies. And people from Black organizations say, hey, man, we don't want that guy on television because he's a pimp. But I wasn't saying any pimp things, but I moved, like a pimp. So they tried to pull me off of That's My Mama, but the character was very popular.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you, a famous actress, Viola Davis. I was
never heard of her.
And she talked about that character, Junior from That's My Mama.
Yeah.
And she was in love with that character. She loved that character to the point that she entered a contest and she played Junior with the body English and all of that. And her sisters played other parts in the sketch they wrote, and they won the talent contest during a little sketch.
All right.
And Viola Davis was me, or I was Viola Davis, one of those. So that's not bad company there.
Ted, we have to move up a little bit because we're running out of time, but work did come to you until 1977. You got a big one called A Love Boat. You played the role for 10 years and 250 episodes as bartender Isaac Washington. What was that like?
That was absolutely the best time I ever had.
Good.
The cast loved each other.
Yes.
I mean, we're still friends to this day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be directing Fred Grandy next year in Inherit the Wind.
Okay.
We're going to do that in Syracuse, New York at the Red House Theater. So, and I've directed him in Give 'Em Hell, Harry, which is a one-man show about Harry Truman. So we're all still friends. I mean, Bernie Capel, I went and saw him in New York off Broadway in Two Jews Talking.
Okay.
And I told Bernie that you got the wrong title. It should be Two Old Jews Talking. Anyway, so
okay,
we're friends. We're all friends. Tweez and I did Taming of the Shrew together, and Gavin. You know, we're all fans of each other even after the show stopped.
Okay.
So they come to see all my shows.
Okay.
I'm getting ready. We just did. I did a play recently. It just closed yesterday afternoon.
Yes, it did. Satchmo at the Waldorf.
Satchmo at the Waldorf, which is about Louis Armstrong.
Yes.
With L. Peter Callender playing Satchmo. I just directed that.
Okay.
And we look forward to doing that, not this summer, but the summer of 24. We're going to do that at the North Carolina Black Theater Festival.
Okay. Now, after you left The Love Boat, you did a lot of other shows, but then you did in 1989, you did a movie called Othello. It gave a stir. You were the first, as I understand, you were the first Black actor to be featured in the film version of Othello.
Yeah, I was ahead of the curve. Lawrence Fishburne did it 6 years later, and but mine was really the first one out there. And I bicycled it around to colleges across the country, mostly on the East Coast. And you can find it in some other colleges in their libraries. But yeah, we did. I did the stage version in Los Angeles at the Inner City Cultural Center. And then I saved some of my Love Boat money and I produced it as a film. And I directed it, and I used the cast that was at the Inner City Cultural Center, and it turned out really, really well.
Folks don't know this. There's a little thing about you that folks don't know. This man he's a graduate of London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Art.
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, exactly. I've written 3 Shakespearean-themed plays. Yes. And you can go on Amazon and buy it if you're interested. It's called Shakespeare Over My Shoulder.
Okay.
The first one, Shakespeare Over My Shoulder, which is also the title of the first play, is about who really wrote the Shakespeare plays, because there's been a controversy for 400 years as to whether or not Shakespeare actually wrote the plays. Right. The second play is about Othello, and it's a prequel to Othello. And I wrote that because sometimes I've talked to Black people that go to see Shakespeare, and they're always asking questions about this and that. So I wrote this play in verse, iambic pentameter, about Othello, and it ends right when the Shakespeare Othello begins. So if you see my play, then you see the other Othello, you'll get a sense of where you are right away. You won't get lost. Okay. And then I have a third play called The Tears of Shylock.
Okay.
And we're turning that one into a musical. I've done that a number of times on Zoom, but we're now turning that into a musical. And I'm working with a musician named Gerald Trotman.
Okay.
And that's what I'm currently working on right now.
Okay. You've gotten a few awards in your time, but on May 10th, 2018, the cast of The Love Boat received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in front of the Dolby Theater. Look at those guys. Look at you.
Yeah, there
Oh
we are.
man, look at you. Look
Yeah.
at you.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, you know what's fun about that is the part of the reason I went into theater and television and film is because of my high school drama teacher.
Yes.
And I was able to get my high school drama teacher to that event. So he saw his student who he set on the road to show business. He was able to see me get my star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And that was a really a delight.
Outstanding.
Yeah. That was fun.
But Ted, last but not least, you have a play you wrote. It's called Blues in My Coffee.
Yes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, he's done many readings of this play. I, for one, had the honor and pleasure of being the narrator at the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center in LA of this play. And I thank you so much for calling upon me. It was a pleasure. But tell us about the play and what you're doing with it, please, sir.
Okay, so very quickly, Ron, what happened is when they asked me to direct Satchmo, I said, listen, if you can work around this schedule, I got 4 days that I have to go to Houston, to the Ensemble Theater in Houston, to do a reading of my play, Blues in My Coffee. Now, if you'll give me those 4 days, I can give you the rest of my time for Satchmo. And so they said, okay. So I went to Houston, Ron. If I had the money, I would have flown you out to do the narration, but I didn't have that kind of money. But anyway, I went to Houston. We did the reading in Houston. And now they want to do it next year in their season. Okay? So then I come back to San Jose where I was doing Satchmo. And the guy, the artistic director said, well, how did it go in Houston? I said, it went really well, got a standing ovation. People really loved the play. And I'm very excited. He said, well, let me read the play. And so I said, okay. So I gave him the play. So he's going to do that, not this coming season, but the following season, he's going to do Blues in My Coffee. So I'm really happy about that play. It's a strong play. You know this. It's a strong play. It's got some very funny parts to it, but also it has some tragedy in it, but you don't see it coming.
Right.
And you don't see it coming, which is the best way, I think, emotionally to catch an audience, is that it lays it out, but at the same time, you don't realize you're being sucked into this vortex.
And you know who wrote it and directed it?
Yeah, me. I wrote it.
Ted Lange, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
wrote it. I directed it. And it's kind of my Black Lives Matter play. That's what I call it, my Black Lives Matter play, because sometimes there are some white people that don't understand Black Lives Matter. But I think if they see this play, they will understand a better, for those people that are, kind of upset or pissed off or whatever. It's just that they don't understand Black Lives Matter. So this play kind of opens the door for them to have an understanding of the situation.
When it comes to the stage, I'm going to get me a ticket and be sitting right down front. Right down
All
front.
right now. You're invited. You know that. You're
Ted,
invited.
thank you so much for being our guest. Again, every time you come, we get more and more and more info about what you are doing, sir. Best wishes and continued success in your
Thank
future.
you. Thank you, Ron, very much. It's always a treat to see you. And thank you for giving me this opportunity.
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Lange.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is the Actors Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. We'd like to let you know that we're asking our Actors Squad to help us get former baseball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt, who passed away January 20th, 1997, he was the husband of one of our wonderful guests you see all the time, renowned actress Judy Pace. So all you got to do is contact our office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. We sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Brother Tony.
I just can't thank you all enough.
Remember what I told you. He doesn't know who you are. You can say hello, but don't say anything about being his mother. That'll just scare and confuse him.
All right.
It's going to be a long process.
I understand.
It's this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest today is bringing us some good news about a new play that she's thrilled to finally get a chance to perform in this play. Now, she's got a bunch of theater critics, including The Idiot Box, The Book of Liz, and Seven Santas, just to name a few. Oh, yeah, she's also got a load of TV critics, too, such as Criminal Minds, Raising the Bar, and Joey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tisha Terrasini Banker. Greetings, Tisha, and welcome to the Actor's Choice.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Question number one. Where were you born at, my dear?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, in a little unincorporated town that was called Ferguson, which no one had ever heard of until a couple of years ago. But yep, that was my hometown.
Wow. I've been to that town. It's a beautiful town, especially that arc. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
You ever been inside of it, by the way?
Oh, yeah, sure. You have to go up. I don't think we go up unless somebody comes into town, and then we have to take them up. And then that's how we all go. That's how you get it.
Got you. Okay. Now, you attended Loyola University in New Orleans, where you began acting in theater professionally. Mm-hmm. So that answers the question that I always ask. What made you get into acting?
Well, actually, I started really, really young. I had gone to see a play with my family, and it was called Christmas on Angel Street. I've never seen it performed again. It wasn't a terribly good play, but I remember sitting there and thinking, you know, I was about 9, and I remember sitting there thinking, I could do that. I could do that. I would do this instead of that. And I started writing little plays about whatever we were learning in school. And I always convinced the nuns. I said, hey, I have a little play about Thanksgiving. Can we do that? And I'd recruit my best friends, and we'd get up and we'd do a little thing. And that's how I started it. I just really liked the idea of stepping into somebody else's shoes.
Okay. So you moved to Chicago to attend DePaul University Theater School, and you got a master's degree in acting.
I did.
Wow.
I think I was the youngest. I went straight from undergraduate at 21 into the, was I 20? Yeah, I think I was 21. Yeah, I believe I was. I went straight in. So everyone else in the MFA program was a little bit older. So I felt like the baby in that group. But a lot of folks went on to do amazing work. I mean, I still see my classmates, in movies and on TV all the time. So it was a great experience.
Now, we always ask the guests about education, I call it. Now, I'm a teacher over at Santa Monica College, and a lot of people don't understand. You need a piece of paper so you can get someplace. And I have an expression called the 3 E's: education, exposure, and experience. You need them too.
Yes, I agree. I do feel like some folks, they get out of whatever first step in education, and then they sort of start working professionally. And I do think some folks get really lucky and they work with great people who they kind of learn from along the way. But I really felt I had a bit of imposter syndrome all the time. Like, I'd get up on stage and I felt like when I did something good, it was a happy accident. So I wanted to go and really have the tools so that when opportunity came a knocking, I would be ready.
Well, it did come to the door and knock on your door because you came here to LA, Hollywood more specifically. Remember the first time you looked at the Hollywood sign? How did it feel?
I sure do. I came out here with a good friend of mine from DePaul, she was an undergrad, Sophia Richards, and she showed me everything. And I immediately fell in love with the idea. I remember saying to my mom when I got home, she said, because I was in Chicago, she said, do you think you want to go to New York or do you want to go to LA? And I was like, I can't be poor in New York. I cannot be a struggling artist. I'll freeze to death. I said, but in LA, worst case scenario, I can't pay my power. I'll just go to the beach. So that was my theory. That was my philosophy. If I had to be a starving actor, I'd rather be here.
Well, you did the right thing. You started knocking on the door, and your first IMDb TV credit came in 2005 for a TV series animation short action. It was called Duck Dodgers.
Yes, it was. And I was, I'll tell you the truth. My husband is an animation writer. And I think we were just dating. No, maybe we were married. Yeah, we were married because we got married in 2004. And he always is my biggest fan along with my mom. But he was like, he fought to get me that role because he said, listen, I know she's my wife, but she's really good. And if you just listened to her and you didn't know she was my wife, she'd get the job. So please just let her come in and audition. And so they took my name off of they took our shared last name. So I just went in as Tisha Terrasini, not Tisha Terrasini Banker. And I got the part. And only when I got there did people go, wait a minute, why are you so chummy with the writer? And I'm like, he's my husband. So that was my first role, but it was a great, I got to sit in the booth with the voice of Porky Pig, yes, and the voice of,
Lieutenant Aurora's.
Yes. Yeah. So I got to sit in this booth with all those famous dudes who are so amazing. So I learned a lot.
Stop. You haven't mentioned the name of this good-looking man that you married to. He's also an actor. Talk about him.
Well, he's a writer, but he has acted before. I always tease him. I say, you're a frustrated actor, because he loves to get up there and try. But his name is Mark Banker, and he is, we've been married. It'll be 19 years.
Newlyweds.
Next month.
Newlyweds.
Yeah. Well, in LA, I feel like that's 50 years.
Yes.
But we got married. We met in 2000, and we got married in 2004. And he came out here. He was a writer with The Onion. So he moved out here in the late 90s, and he sort of got his start in TV and doing that thing. And so, we met right at the beginning of when both of us came out here. And that was, the rest is history, as they say.
All right. Tell him to get in touch with me. We'll bring him on the show. We'd love to have him. Love to have him.
Oh, he would love it. He would love it.
Okay. Now we came to that time, item number 36 there, Tony. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Open Fist Theater Company proudly presents a wicked good comedy called To the Bone. To the Bone. Wow. Tell us about it, please.
Oh, wow. So I first read this play, I think it was 2009. And as most theater folks will tell you, like, sometimes you just read something and it speaks to you on all the levels, and it's the thing. And I was like, I have to do this. Please let me do this. And the playwright, Catherine Butterfield, she said, great, like, let's do a reading. Let's get some, people interested in doing it. I'm going to rewrite a bit. And so I read it probably about 6 times, maybe 7 times in total over the course of about 7 or 8 years. And it finally goes like, Catherine, I'm going to be too old to play this part by the time it gets done. And so it was right before COVID, as a matter of fact. She called me. She said, I've got good news and I've got bad news. She said, the good news is it's going to get done in New York. The bad news is they really want a name to play the lead role. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but they got a big name. And even I was like, okay, if I'm going to lose the part, I might as well lose it to this one person. And then COVID happened and the world shut down and they lost that actress. So then she came back to me and she said, you know what? We're starting over. We're going to put it up in LA and I want you to have the role.
All
and
right.
I told my husband, I said, this is going to be one of the best things I've ever done. Like I immediately had an affinity towards the character Kelly Moran. And I felt like that pull inside me, like I'm the only one who can do it. I'm the only one who gets this woman. And it's been such a gift to be able to do it.
We got a picture of Catherine Butterfield, the director. There she is.
Yeah, the world's cutest playwright. I always tease her. She's a love. She's a lovely person.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the synopsis of the play, please.
Sure. It is set in 2013 in what they call the South Shore of Boston, the Irish Riviera. And these two sisters, Kelly Moran and Maureen Dugan, are sort of reformed hard girls, right? Like, I feel like people in Boston get exactly what I'm talking about. Like, there is a very specific kind of young lady in Boston where, and my cousin was one of these people. They are just beautiful, but they are tough. And those two things coexist in these girls. And so they've reached that point in their lives now where they're in their late 30s and life has not been kind to either of them. And my character, Kelly, had given away a child up for adoption when I was 17. And that girl is coming back. When the play opens, the girl is coming back to meet me for the first time and my family. And all I can tell you is everybody has an agenda and there's a lot of, cross purposes in that meeting. And the rest of my castmates, Amanda Weir, who I know you've met, who's like, I've known her for 20 years. So we're about as close to sisters as the real deal gets on stage. And I'm just so excited that she's in it because we have so much history together off stage. And then I have Alice Kors is playing my daughter, Geneva, who comes back. Jack Sharp is playing my son, Sean. And Casey Mayada, I'm going to screw up her last name, but it's Casey Mayada is playing Darcy, who is my daughter's friend from college who comes back. And it's just, it's a lot of fun to do. The audiences have had a lot of fun coming. There's a big theme of baseball in it with the Red Sox. And so when we had our initial run at the Open Fist Theater, these guys they came in late, they sat in the front row, and they were some dudes, baseball caps, and they were just dudes. They did not look like a typical theater goer. And we came out afterwards and said hello and, met the folks that had stuck around. These guys came up and they were so nice. And I said, who do you know? And they said, we love the Red Sox and we read the thing and we know that it was about the Red Sox. I didn't know, I never saw a play. So yeah, it was great. And I said, oh man, if we could pull these guys in and they could have a good time. So it's just, it's a gift, really, honestly. There's a lot of heart in this show. There's a lot of stuff, it's the full spectrum of family relationships. And it's really, for me, it's a love letter to Boston. I spent my summers up with my family in Massachusetts and in a little town called Wakefield, Massachusetts. And I have such fond feelings and so much love for the people in that city. So I really wanted to do right by them, not just slap an accent on. I wanted to show like life can be tough for a lot of us, but it's about what you do with what you're given. And so, my character, Kelly, she screws up a lot, but she never stops trying to do the right thing.
We just happen to have a clip of some of that stuff you talked about. Brother Tony.
Hi, come in. Geneva.
Mother.
Yeah, I'm your mother. I'm Kelly.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Hugger. Love it. Now, this is a 4-week remount, March 4th through March 26th, I'm told.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. At Theater 68, which is in North Hollywood.
Right.
And if folks want tickets, they go to theater68artscomplex.com. You click on Now Playing, and you will see us there to the bone. And we hope you come out. We'd love doing it. And there's a lot of love in this cast. It's a lot of fun, really. It's one of the best things I've done.
Tisha, question. Are you sitting inside the theater right now?
I am. I am at what is called a tech rehearsal. So we are putting in all the elements, lights and sound and everything. And so I snuck on out to the lobby to talk to you. And I set myself up and I said, oh, that's a nice little wall. I'll pop myself right in front of that. So so we're getting ready. We're getting ready. And we had a big fundraiser and so many people generously donated for this remount. So we're doing a champagne donor performance, a special performance for all the folks that gave us their hard-earned money on this Friday. So when they show up, we want to be ready for them, and just to say thank you, and have a good time. So we're really excited. We're happy to be doing it again.
Quick question: what excites you the most about this play?
It's so real, and I think each of these 5 actors brings so much to the table with these characters that there was this actor friend of Catherine, Stephen Tobolowsky, who's been in a bazillion things, and he wrote us a really lovely little post where he just said, you see angels, you see devils, and you find yourself somewhere in each of these characters. And he's like, I was on the edge of my seat for both acts because you don't know what's going to happen next. And so that's what excites me the most, the idea that people see themselves in the dilemmas of these characters, and they have really strong feelings about what they should do or shouldn't do. Like, that's the whole point of theater, I think, to show people a bit of themselves and make them reflect.
We got one more video for you. Roll it, Tony.
There you go. Fix it like you like it.
I'm gonna bet that Geneva takes the tea with milk, like me, not cream, right? Because cream masks the flavor.
Oh, she's going right for the sugar.
Oh, well, that's a surprise. Oh, but look at this. Yeah, she's got her pinky up when she stirs, just like I do.
You don't do your pinky up.
I do. When I think about it, I do. But that's a gorgeous sweater you got there, Geneva. Is it cashmere?
Tisha, this looks like a real good play. Please tell us one more time about how to get tickets.
Absolutely. You go to theater68artscomplex.com and click on Now Playing, and you will find us there. And we hope you guys come out.
All right. And by the way, please thank publicist Lucy Pollock for making it possible for you to be here today. Best wishes.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Bye, you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tisha Terrasini, banker. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what we hear. The next guest that we have today, here's how they do it. A knockout performance, a force of nature, very moving, a comic delight, a standout. Now, these are words that come from numerous media services about just some of the superlatives that have been used to describe the multi-talented guest that we have here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Luise Heath. Greetings.
Hello.
And welcome. When you thought it was quiet, but we were actually playing music in the background, you'll see that. When we send you a copy of the show, you'll see what that is. My dear, beautiful words brought on by beautiful performances. But please tell us, where were you born?
I was born in New York.
New York?
New York. I can talk like New York, too.
So can I. I was born in New York, too.
You were?
I was born in Harlem, uptown.
Okay, I lived on 112th Street between 7th and 8th until I was about 5.
You were in Harlem? That's where you were living. That's Harlem.
Yes, Harlem.
That's right. Okay. So what made you get into acting?
Well, when I was a little girl, and I was watching Howdy Doody, Fairy Princess, and a couple of other people, as I watched it, and I guess I was about 3 or 4, I knew I was supposed to be in that box. I don't know. That's how I got into it. And when I was in school.
There you go. Went to school.
When I was in even elementary school, I participated in a lot of like the plays and singing And by the time I got to junior high school, I told my guardian I really wanted to sing. And so she started sending me into the city all by myself on the Long Island train, because we were living in Long Island by then. And I was going to one of those schools like in the Broadway area that teach, dancing, singing, acting. And one day someone said to my guardian, "Why are you wasting money on that kind of school? I think she really can sing." And they directed her to find out about Juilliard School of Music, which she really didn't know about. And she investigated it. And she, I think it was my last year of junior high school. Well, now it would be the last year of junior high school and the first year of high school. I started going into New York City all by myself with my cousin picking me up and going to the Juilliard School of Music on scholarships for the 4 years. Something happened here with the camera, but that's okay. You can hear me. And are you there? Yeah. And I was taking voice, diction, theory, and piano for 4 years on Riverside Drive and at my voice teacher's home. So at that point, I wanted to be the greatest living opera singer, actress, because really in the back of my head, I'm always into the acting and it's the interpretation of the words, as opposed to really singing. I mean, I could sing then, really great. But then I went to Howard University.
You went to Howard University?
Yes. And the story there is that basically in high school, the only thing I really excelled in was English and choir, because I went to All-State a couple of times, and literature, things like that. I wasn't even sure the day we had graduation. They don't tell you you're going to graduate till you're going to graduate. I didn't know if I was going to graduate, but apparently I did. But I had, during my senior year, received a lot of scholarships from different organizations to go to college. And one of them said to my guardian, "So what school is she going to?" And she said, "I don't know. She hasn't really applied to any." And she said, "Don't you worry." I think it was her brother was the dean of the drama department and music department. And that's where I went.
When you say Howard University, you catch my attention.
Why? Did you go?
I have a twin brother who was in this business. He used to work at WHUR. He has a son who went through, he graduated from there. I had a wife who went to Howard University Medical School. Her sister went there.
Cool.
Well. So there's other things too. One of them is, I'll just say one thing about HU, a chicken place called Wings and Things. Remember that?
Right, down on the boulevard down there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, you had to have mambo sauce, or you didn't have none.
Well, I don't know what I had. I know I would eat anything there was.
It was good. Very good. Very good. I saw something over the weekend just because Bison's busy as heck. It says the hottest ticket about as the only all-black team in college swimming is the Howard Bisons.
I heard that this morning on the news. I was so proud.
Wow.
So proud.
They won the Northeast Conference Championships. Swimming, blacks, swimming.
Right.
Wow.
We excel in so many things that people don't even think about us excelling in.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. You got a point there. Okay. What it was like back in those days trying to get a job, as we used to call it?
Well, I was very fortunate. I came to New York one weekend and I wound up staying with my friend for about a week, and I auditioned because in Equity then you just went in to auditions, right? Without agents or anything.
Right.
And I was talking to one agent and I said to her, I said, "How come you haven't, kind of like presented me for these jobs?" And she said, well, they weren't really asking for your type. But anyway, I got jobs. And basically, I never went back to school to get that degree.
Wow.
I have a lot of, I don't have that many credits to achieve. I could one day. I keep fantasizing, oh, maybe I'll get an honorary degree for all the work I've done. But I wound up doing a play called The Last Sweet Days. Oh, and I know I had worked with Woody King before. Off Broadway. And sometimes, it's so funny that so long ago you get, what did I do first? What didn't I do? Anyway, I did, I left that agency and went, somehow or another, I wound up with William Morris. And one weekend again, I auditioned for 3 different plays, 2 Broadways and 1 little off-Broadway play, which of course wasn't paying that much and didn't look like much of anything. But William Morris said, you need to do that play because that's where they're going to recognize you.
Got you.
And they did.
And they did.
Yes.
Madam,
yes.
The beautiful thing.
It's funny because they wanted like a rock rhythm and blues singer.
Gotcha.
And I said, oh God, I'm really in trouble here. So I remembered a song that I learned, a spiritual that I learned at Juilliard called Wade in the Water. Because I really didn't have that background. I never really went to church and sang. I mean, I went to church, but never really with the choir. And I got up there and sang Wade in the Water for this little rock musical. And I got it.
You got it.
And I was in that for about a year and left to go to Arena Stage to do a new Ionesco play. So look at that, from rock to Ionesco. And it was fascinating experience there too.
The most beautiful thing about it, madam, is that right? Because you were a very versatile talent. So where did we start? When you were in D.C., you had some more memorable plays like Carmen Jones, The River Niger, Ragtime Blues.
Well, that was after in New York, and they came from here. When I was in D.C., I did Fly Blackbird, which was a famous off-Broadway play here. And some of my friends that I met later were in it and starred in it. So it was fun.
You were busy. You went on Broadway, off Broadway, and don't forget the international treatment to theater goers who enjoyed your musical and dramatic talents.
I was very lucky to be able to sing.
Yes.
But I think have the heart of the actress. So it didn't matter for me which play type I auditioned for. So yes, I would go from musical to straight play to musical to straight play. And I was very fortunate. I came out here by mistake and wound up staying here. And I did a couple of plays at the Amundsen.
Yes.
Here in LA. And then I belonged to several different theater groups that had 99-seat theater houses.
Yes.
And did some pretty memorable work with them. And, television.
Yes.
That's it.
rough, hard out there.
Yes.
I believe in 1969, you did a film comedy called Putney Swope.
Oh, yes. Putney Swope. It was interesting. It was interesting. And then later, when I was going through my very radical stage, I was going, I don't like that. I don't like that. When people would say you were in it, I said, no, I didn't like that. And then now I've learned what Bob was trying to say.
Yes.
But when I was very young and becoming political and radical, I wasn't getting it at all. But now I do.
Got you. Luise, and then you did come to LA. You were seen in the celebrated production of National Pastime, the acclaimed portrayal of Millie Robinson, the mother of Jackie Robinson.
Yes, loved it. That was one of the small theater things I did in Pasadena. These are all equity houses. So, and I must say it was an extraordinary experience because I didn't know that much about him, and who he was and stuff. And then when you realize you're playing the mother that made him who he was, it was just wonderful. And the people at that theater are fabulous too. So I love that. Yeah. And we had the fortune of Jackie Robinson because he was in South Pasadena. That's where he grew up. And his family came to see the play. His wife was still alive there, but I can't remember if she came up. I remember his niece came up to me and she hugged me and she kissed me and said, "Thank you, Grandma." You know.
All right, guys, get the Kleenex out. This is one of those moments. Get the Kleenex out.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Luise, you've had many TV guest appearances. What, over 30? That's a
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering myself. I said, okay, just, since the pandemic came,
yes.
And I guess I was in the head of, oh God, I'll never work again in life now.
You're funny.
I don't think it will either. But auditioning is so different.
Yes.
This tape it yourself thing. I thought even getting on Zoom this morning, as many times as I've done readings, I said, I'm in the wrong place. I emailed you and said, what do I do? I'm in the wrong place. I don't think.
Tony, you hear what she's saying? Tony hears that.
And they're never going to go back to auditioning. I think the commercials are beginning.
Right.
I don't really have commercial representation, but I'm searching for that now. If anybody wants to make me on. But it's a different thing. And I was very resistant to it.
Uh-huh.
I was going, this is not right. This is not right. So there were a couple of things that I even did self-submissions during the pandemic. And I got auditions, and then I said, no, I'm not going to tape for this, blah, 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 blah. And actually, because some of those people actually read resumes and looked me up, they called me directly.
Wow. And
said, please, the director really wants to see you. And I said, yeah, so where do I go? And he said, no, you're going to do it on Zoom. And I said, no, and he said, yes. And I got booked a few times that way. So we'll see what's happening now.
Okay.
Far as if anyone's going to book me off of it. I don't mind the Zoom auditions. It's doing it myself.
Got you.
That just freaks me out because, our taste or my taste may be different from casting.
Right.
When you went in person, it was like, okay, Luise, that was really cool, but could you maybe blah, 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 blah. And the cameraman would be there and you two would work it out. And I got booked.
Yeah.
So it's a different world now for us, old time.
We're ready to wrap, but I got one video that we'd like to have folks take a look at. Roll it, Tony. This is you.
Oh, Cabaret.
There are lots of men there, but they all seem to be attached
Cabaret.
to the kids that they're with. So
I'm working on my Cabaret act again, so we will be doing it. Oh, that's my whole reel. Kissing young men and everything. How extraordinary am I? Well, Ron, thank you for having me on.
My pleasure, Luise. Wouldn't have it no other way. Thank you so much for telling us about who you are and what you do. And please come back again. We only had 17 minutes for you. We want to hear some more.
Well, just invite me back when you want to hear from me, because I do have a wonderful story, because we didn't even talk about my second life.
I understand.
And helping other people achieve.
Now, take a note. Second life. I'm telling John, my secretary, take a note. Take a note.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm very proud of that too. I did get into recruiting for entertainment, clerical, and some of our biggies now used to work for me.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luise. Thank you. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Life, The Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's book To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actors Space. And much, much thanks to our guest today, actor, director, writer Ted Lange, actress, producer, Miss Banker, and actress, producer, former Luise Heath. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. Be well. We'll see you next time.